Hey, I've got a little bit of a cold, but I wanted to do some backlog regarding Parsha Noach. I am actually recording in Parsha Vayera right now, so forgive me for the backlog, but doing my personal journal is really important. So regarding Parsha Noach, there's a question of first of all, I hope this learning definitely goes to refuah shlema for myself because I'm fighting cold, and also for my daughter and my wife. Um, so yeah. So the question of Parsha Noach is, uh, the question my Rebbe asked me was, where is the biggest ambiguity in your life? And the ambiguity we're talking about is kind of twofold. The first one is, where's the biggest question marks in your life? Like, what do you do? What do you say? Do I take this job? Do I not take this job? Do I go this place? Do I not go this place? What's the next step? Where's the question marks in your life? But also, the ambiguity we're speaking of is, where do you spend your free time? Your free time is kind of like unassigned space in your life, time and space. So how do you spend that time and space? It's ambiguous. And that's really important to discuss that. My rabbi talked about how he feels like when he has downtime, might spend so much time on the computer instead of learning Torah, or preparing for the next thing or whatever. I know for myself, I recently bought a PS3. I got it on a really good deal, but I went through the hassle of getting a PS3 after I was very convinced of not getting one, because Torah is very important to me. But I just found that I was not being able to comfort myself, and so I decided to comfort myself through playing a game, which brings us to Noach. Noach means comfort. And it was the name that his father gave him, Lamech, because as the Midrash brings down, he was born circumcised. Noach was. And so when his father saw that, he realized that the world was going to be better. But also, Noach brought comfort to his father because he developed a plow, which was really, really big in that time, because up until that point, the way that they planted was through digging the ground, the hard ground, with their fingernails. So just imagine how hard and tough their nails had to be, or weren't, whatever the case was, to plant and live. So agricultural developments at that time was the plow, and Noach was responsible for that. So he gave comfort to his father through that development. So, uh, yeah, that was Noach. He brought comfort to himself, but he was not able to comfort himself. In fact, he didn't know how to do that at all. And we learn that after the flood, actually, definitely leading up to the flood, but definitely after the flood, when Hashem just kind of just stopped talking to him, after 120 years of direction and plus, during the time of the flood and receding waters and all that good stuff. So his father, his family is off procreating, and it's just him, and so he didn't know what to do with himself, and so he decided to plant a vineyard. Now I don't really know the process of what it takes to plant a vineyard, or produce wine. I know that Rashi had his own wine manufacturing company or whatever. So, but I do know, I'm pretty sure that it takes 7 years to be successful in getting grapes from a vine, and so I know that also the greater fermentation of wine, the stronger it is, the alcoholic content of it. Well, if that's the case, then I wonder uh, how long was Noach so stubborn in making sure that he was able to create a vineyard, and create wine from that. I wonder if there's some secret within the time of the flood, or maybe the time of building the ark. I'm not quite sure. So, um, anyways, when it comes to comfort, we learn a lot from Noah of how to comfort yourself, or maybe how not to comfort yourself. And that's really important because we all have a task in life. One of the things that Aish Kodesh brings out is that to study Torah to its depths is very, very difficult. And I will add that it's very intricate as well. To just be able to chazer one piece of Torah is, I heard it said that someone's chazer a piece of Torah for the amount of hairs in their beard. Imagine how many hairs can be in your beard, like that's 100 times, maybe 200, 300 times. Uh, and still, that particular story he learned with a young boy, and then found out that he had insights he had never discovered before. So, to study Torah to its depth is not a simple task. It takes time, it takes experience, and you gotta be able to comfort yourself during that whole process. It's really, really important. So that was something that really stuck out to me. And another question to add on to that was, how have you abused and refused comfort? I think that's an important question as well, because you can use comfort, right? There's always a use of it, but how have you abused it? Excuse me. And abuse would be, in this case, I will say abuse was alcohol. We can extend towards masturbation, things that we comfort ourselves when we're in pain, we comfort ourselves when we're hurt, or when we're just lost, and or we can't have what we want. How do you comfort yourself? So those things we have to question, but also how have you refused comfort, which is, I guess, I'll suggest the more positive view on that. When it comes to refusing comfort, you're really asking, how have I decided to challenge myself? If Noah had to just challenge himself, what would the world be like today? He developed a plow. How much more potential did he have within him? All right, so before this video gets too long, I just wanted to add a few other things regarding the word teva. Teva has a gematria of 407. It's spelled with a tav, a beit, and a hey. And one of the cool things about learning Torah is that you learn there's many, many secrets within the Torah, just the words themselves. So much to learn. So Jastrow was a great asset, the dictionary, in helping me understand that the word behat, which is spelled beit, hey, tav, is to be confounded or ashamed. And then Jastrow also led me to a combination of bait, tav, hey, which is going to be bata. That means desolation and make waste, which I thought those two words very uniquely tied into this week's the Parsha of Noach, because Noach found himself completely disgraced when he got drunk and was debased, and ended up being sodomized, not mistaken, and also castrated. And then from that castration, we learned that desolation. There was desolation in his ability to create more offspring. He didn't have that option anymore. So there's a few unique things about that. I don't know if I mentioned already that Noach and Abraham were contemporaries 58 years, and the gematria of Noach is 58, which is pretty cool. So I did have an extra thought that the number 58, the sum of 58 is 13, and so through the Eish Kodesh, which is going to be on page 152, he mentions that Hashem, or that Moshe requested that Hashem walk with Bnei Israel because they had the ability to make decisions and so forth, that Hashem gave them the 13 attributes, which is the sum of 5, 8, 13. And so there's something of a tie into the Eish Kodesh there, to elaborate more on that 58. So, yeah. Have a good Shabbos.